Hey everyone, Alex Terrace here. I am a health product researcher and dealer distributor for many different types of brands and many categories, including PEMF. So we have the latest QRS. It's actually Cell Vital Home Care is the new official company name as of 2018. This model is the QRS 101S. And we're going to be testing today the ELF levels. That's the electrical field of the kind of electrosmog of EMF, if you've heard that term, EMF. So usually when people test different devices, technologies, they'll test the milligauss magnetic flux and the ELF. And the electrical field is measured differently. It's measured in millivolts. So I want to prove here that my PEMF is turned on, of course. So we got the countdown timer there. So, as you can see, the plugs are firmly plugged in there, all the way. Everything's all plugged in. What I have plugged in right here is the small pillow pad. That's why you can see it's small compared to my hand. They also have other applicators and full body mats and stuff like that. I'm using one of the, let me see here. This is a multi-wave meter. It's about $87 to $100. It's just a really good meter. It's pretty accurate. And I am going to be trying to make another video, by the way, finding a cheaper electrical field meter from Lowe's or Home Depot. So that way people at home can get something cheap, test their at-home equipment, whether it's a PEMF or an infrared PEMF mat combo or whatever it is, and then be able to return it after you run your test. Because in this video, I'm making a really important point that when it comes to PEMF, the QRS, if you see my other videos, is extremely unique. They're one of the few that actually have multiple patents and have just a ton of published independent research in journals, clinical studies, all kinds of stuff. One of the other unique things they did about it was they worked on mitigating and filtering the electrical field, the ELF, and no other PEMF company in the industry has done that. The ELF can be quite high with PEMF. It's normal to encounter that. And then you have to then question very deeply, if you watch my other videos, based on the claims about the waveforms and more in terms of the specifications of a PEMF, will the electrosmog, will that actually interfere potentially with the claims in terms of what it is actually doing on a cellular level? Now, even if you just ask the question, hey, what is your PEMF doing on a cellular level? Sadly, but about 98% of companies won't actually be able to tell you, just FYI. So that's, regardless of how popular something is, that's just the truth, and you can find out for yourself. The only thing they would maybe do is just send you some generic PEMF research, which is not related to what they're selling. It was actually Dr. Robert Becker and Dr. Linus Pauling. These are two extremely well-known, famous kind of scientific researcher practitioners. They each have different specializations, of course. They and Dr. Fisher and a couple other people, they were the ones who way back when had the foresight of thinking, wait a minute, people will encounter a lot of electrosmog in their environment. Can we build a PEMF that can actually help to mitigate those fields, restore the body to balance? But furthermore, can we actually influence certain cellular processes, which I've talked about again in other videos? Yes, we can, but we also cannot be blasting the person with a lot of ELF. It's just not going to work, basically, on what we're trying to do. For example, one of the things they're trying to do with this system, is to improve ion flow of specific ions in the body. If you know anything about electrical, like electrosmog of varying frequency bands, we actually have a lot of research to show exactly how it interferes with certain ions. You see what I'm saying? It would be totally counterproductive. So with a lot of PEMF out there, it's just very counterproductive to what they're trying to do. So we still have it running now. I'm going to go back again. As you can see, of course, so it hovers between 1 and 2. Of course, the magnetic, we're obviously going to see fluctuations in there because it's that, yeah, I don't know if I need to explain that too much. But anyways, what the point of the video is basically show what's happening with the ELF, because this is this actual specific claim that the company has made and also put into a patent, which again is entirely unique. I do deal with other PEMF as well. I just primarily sell this most often for many reasons. And of course, the thing that people like to hear the most, of course, is that this has a 6-month return window. So it's a very low financial risk. And Even though I deal with over 70 companies, there is no other company I work with or know that offers 6 months. So I think that kind of speaks for itself. So you'll find my email address, fitforreviews@gmail.com, at the bottom of the video screen here and in the description, and my phone number. So the reason I'm also doing an infrared PEMF mat combo test is to prove, I've done videos about higher dose, their infrared PEMF mat combo, how it's really old, bad PEMF from literally the 1970s. The point of the video I'm going to do today is to show you that they're big electrosmog producers. So I would watch out for that, specifically with the PEMF function, just to be clear. So let's test it with my meter today. And again, almost all these functionally, with all the layers that they have in it, if you look at all the different brands, they're all almost identical because they're almost all coming out of the same couple factories, and all those factories are extremely competitive with one another in China. And I've also done some old videos way back when on my channel, which maybe I'll put a link to at the end of this video, where I test maybe 5-6 different mats side by side, just to show you that also, for the most part, their EMF levels are identical. I did that video though a long time ago. I think it was like at least 10 years ago. So let's get into it. And by the way, again, if you want to get like real PEMF benefits, and I got to plug this in, if you want to get like really good PEMF benefits, I would recommend that you pursue PEMF separately, independently, versus trying to get it in one of these infrared mats. I really like infrared mats, by the way. I think they're really great, but I would just recommend just get the infrared portion by itself. Don't pay more money to get the PEMF. So let's turn it on. Temperature doesn't really matter a whole lot. So I'm going to first test it with just the infrared portion, and then we'll test it with the PEMF. So normally this is magnetic field wides. Sometimes you'll have some hotter spots. By the way, sometimes the older a mat is, and if it's used a lot, sometimes you do get some hotter spots because of the way the wires might be bending in the mat. But generally you should see somewhere between 1 and 5 for almost all mats in terms of the milligauss levels. You can also now pay attention to the ELF, that spike right there. Yeah, it's crazy, right? And I've seen that, that's normal. You sometimes get those little spikes. So yeah, I think the video speaks for itself. And if y'all have any questions about anything that I've gone over in this video, of course, if you want to do a deeper dive into the PEMF, things like that, or if you just want some recommendations for infrared mats, I'm happy to reach. You can chat with me anytime. I've been doing this in various product categories for, I think, going on average 12 to 15 years per product category. And I deal with maybe around 18 different product categories. Anyways, 201-268-2162 is my number, fitforreviews@gmail.com, and would look forward to chatting with you anytime.